Hey homies, what is going on? Carter here. We have got a comparison video. Regular Manix 2, Manix 2 XL, head-to-head, well, not really competition, guys. There's no competition. They're both great knives, just slightly different. I'm going to compare the two, give you an idea of what you're looking at if you want to go one route or the other. So let's kick this off. Got a lot to go through. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible without making it annoying to listen to. Obviously, the biggest difference and the whole point of this knife is the size. XL. It's a larger version of the Manix 2, which, by the way, is not a small knife. I believe it's 3.62 inches, somewhere around there, blade length. The XL version is about 4, if I'm not mistaken. You can see how much more cutting length you get if I line it up. Everything's lined up perfectly. You can see how much longer that blade is. That is pretty gnarly. You've also got more handle. However, not a ridiculous amount of handle, and that is really cool. They really did well in keeping the blade to handle ratio similar. You can see you get more blade and just a little bit more handle. Didn't go overboard there. Materials. This one has 154 cm, but the newer versions of the regular Manix 2, I believe, are S30V as well. So we'll go ahead and say the blade material is the same for all intents and purposes. Even though these particular ones, this is different, but they've changed it. Blade grind. Full flat grind. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people don't care. I don't know. I like the look of the full flat grind. I like how it can slice through thicker things without catching. Whereas this, it's very thin behind the edge, so it does, smaller slicing very, very nicely. But if you're actually trying to pull through something thicker, it will give you more drag once you kind of hit this thick stock right here. The thing that, which is kind of stupid, but the thing that bugs me the most about full flat grind, well, partially the look, it reminds me of a kitchen knife, which is why they're designed that way, so they can slice through things. So, especially mixed with the leaf shape, sometimes it just makes me think kitchen knife, folding kitchen knife in my hand. But other than that, though, sharpening. That's my main problem with full flat grinds, because I sharpen with, and most people sharpen with a clamp system, Wicked Edge, Lansky, like I have, whatever you got, it's a clamp system. And there's no flat surface to clamp onto, so it makes it very likely that when you try and clamp this spine, that it's not perfectly centered. And then you've got to adjust your angles, and you may be running an angle differently on each side, or at least that's been my experience. If anybody knows a way to rectify that, please let me know, because I literally stay away from full flat grinds just because I'm scared to sharpen them. So if anybody can say, no, you idiot, this is how you do it, please let me know. Or if you know a system that people use that can just overcome this type thing, that would be great. Bigger blade, we'll call it same material, obviously different grinds. Handle material, G10, same stuff. Both feature the ball lock. This one, the cage, the plastic cage, is clear. This one is black. I prefer the clear. I just think it looks nicer. And you can kind of see that ball inside, and it just kind of looks cooler. It does draw a little more attention to it than this one, but I really don't think pulling out this knife you care if attention's drawn to that. But it's just a looks thing. I'm sure it's both the exact same material. This one's just tinted black and this one's clear. Just amazing though how something like that, this one just looks higher quality. This one looks kind of like more plasticky, whereas this one you can be like, yeah, it's some sort of high quality resin or something, and this one just looks like black plastic, but I'm sure it's the same stuff. Surprisingly, same amount of body screws. This one has 2 and this one has 2. Only difference is they've moved this one down. So they've placed one lower down here. I'm sure that's absolutely fine. I mean, the speculative nature of me, I would prefer it still up here. I mean, I just think it's more critical personally to have strength up in this area. I mean, this is where the action's happening. You know, if you're cutting into something at an angle that's tough, you're going to be putting pressure this way, which is going to be putting pressure on the scale this way. So in other words, this is basically kind of a pry bar trying to pry these scales apart. So the more strength I have up here, the better. Like I said, I'm sure it's absolutely fine. I would never probably use it hard enough to run into that, but just saying, I'd rather the screw be up here. Down here, it doesn't really matter. There's nothing trying to, you know, put pressure on splitting these scales apart down here. Not real important, but for whatever reason, they moved that down. I don't see anything mechanically different between the two that would have them do that, other than being worried that this is too much space to not have a body screw and not wanting to put an extra screw. I'd rather them have put just an extra one. You know, it's XL, there's more space, bigger handle. Put an extra body screw, but whatever, they didn't. Scales, or I'm sorry, liners. This is very skeletonized. They actually, very skeletonized. Huge sections removed all throughout here, both sides. Makes it very light. It's about the same weight, maybe even less than this one. And it's partially due to the skeletonized liners and partially due to the grind. It just has more material. I mean, this is all thickness all through up here. The only part where material is removed is on this grind, whereas on the full flat grind, should have talked about this during the blade section, but whatever. On the full flat grind, you know, it's moved, material is removed all throughout the blade itself. So it does make, even though it's bigger, I wouldn't be surprised if this blade actually has more material than this one. I'm not saying it does, I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So this is just, it's a very light knife for its size, and it's, you know, it's pretty big. A very light knife. Next up, pocket clip. Same standard Spyderco pocket clip. However, they went with a pretty high carry on this. You can see on the regular version, you've only got about this much sticking out. On this one, you've got a lot sticking out. So I can't wait to get back to you guys on what I think about that as I carry it. Definitely would give you a lot to hold on to pull it out. I don't know if I need that much. And I also, once again, same with the screw, I don't see any structural reason why that would be necessary. So I just assume that it was a decision made. Maybe so that for smaller pockets, you don't hit bottom, I guess. Maybe that's why they did it. Because I don't see why this couldn't be moved up this way a little bit more and then actually, you know, basically do the same thing they did here. See how relative to the handle, the lanyard hole is actually further up the spine, and then the clip actually comes up to here and then comes at a slight angle. And once again, I don't see why that couldn't fit just right here. But for whatever reason, they decided to put it on this side of the lanyard hole, and due to the blade, they couldn't move this lanyard hole over this way anymore, which is interesting because, you know, the blade, how it fits in the handle, is definitely going to dictate where you could put this lanyard hole. However, the pocket clip, it doesn't affect it. You know, like this one here. I guess technically the screws don't overlap the blade, but it doesn't matter because the screws don't go all the way through the liner. So you really could have put this pocket clip anywhere. But like I said, they chose to do it this way. So I'm kind of interested in how that works out. I'm not a big super low carry kind of guy. I don't really like the ultra deep carry clips. I don't like the way they look. I don't mind if my blade sticks out a little. However, I'm interested to see what I think about it sticking out that much. Ergonomics, excellent. Better than the regular XL in my opinion. Although this is still good. This is great. Ergo's on here is great. You've still got that choil there. Here you've got the choil as well. Although because of that width, the extra width right there, it doesn't quite feel as good going up on the choil on this one. But it still works, and you can do that. And it also acts as a safety choil. which I like as well. If you get any sort of lock failure, your chances of causing injury to yourself is greatly reduced because of that. Very nice. I like that a lot. Yep. Sorry for the pausing, guys. I'm trying to make sure, because I want to do like a review on this after I carry it. And so there's certain things I'm kind of waiting to talk about in the review video. And I don't want to be redundant and talk about it both places. You know how it is. You get kind of eager to talk about certain points, but you're like, wait a minute, this video's a comparison. Don't start going off on a tangent on that. And that's about it. That's about the only differences there. Like I mentioned, the ergos, man, this just feels so good. You've got that section here poking out. There's one thing I wanted to talk about that I've heard people mention before. Definitely worth noting. When using this lock system, if you haven't used it before, you really can't do it. You know, the axis lock you can actually do just one side with like a thumb or a forefinger on one side. With this, the spring tension, you really need to do both fingers. And so you need negative, you need resistance on this side. So typically when people unlock this, they place it in the palm of their hand, and then they can pull down on the lock and disengage it. One thing people have had some issues with on here is because of the increased length, they're not able to seat the butt in their palm. I can, just because of the size of my hands. I actually need to loosen this a bit. You can see how it doesn't free fall. I may lube it up, take it apart, lube it up. Needs to be broken in. But I can do it. However, I can feel if it was any longer, I wouldn't be able to reach it. But I can still actually palm it and pull the lock down. Although it is a little more difficult because I'm not actually getting the full butt in my palm. It's more like just this curve right here. So I can feel it kind of start to slip. And I know J Davis 882, he did a review on this forever ago. I'm behind the times on this knife, sorry guys. But he basically just puts it kind of in the death grip on the side, and he's able to disengage it. But definitely something worth thinking about. So yeah, that's it. That is the comparison. I mean, obviously above, first and foremost, it's bigger. Same mechanism. Ergos are similar. However, they are kind of different. You can see the change in the handle shape. It is a different beast. It's different enough that it is, I would consider it a different knife. Even though it carries the Manix 2 moniker and it has the same lock and similar shapes and things like that, I would say it is a different beast than the regular Manix 2. There's enough different there that, I'd consider it a different knife, really. It's very cool. All right, guys, that's it. I'll be doing my kind of review on this as soon as I feel like I've got enough data and things to talk about and stuff like that. All right, guys, later.